Chosen one, breathe. You have carried so much for so long. You have been walking with faith stretched thin, holding on to something you could not yet see, but could not release either. There were nights where your spirit felt exhausted, and yet you did not give up. You whispered prayers you were not even sure had sound in them, but heaven heard everyone. You stood in rooms where your heart was breaking, but your hope refused to break with it. You walked through seasons that felt endless, where time seemed to stop, where nothing moved, nothing shifted, nothing opened. Yet something inside you kept saying, "There is more. I have not come this far for nothing." You have been waiting not just for a blessing, but for a release, for a sign that the tears were seen, the silence had purpose, the waiting was not in vain. And now, your spirit has been led here because it is time for you to be reminded of this truth. You were not forgotten. You were being held. You were being prepared. You have not been delayed. You have been preserved for the appointed moment. You know what it feels like to be the one who waits while others move forward. To watch doors swing open for people who barely asked, while you carried promises that felt heavy enough to bend your spine. You watched others rise in seasons when you stayed still. You celebrated breakthroughs while wondering when yours would arrive. You learned how to smile while holding a quiet ache. You learned how to clap for others while managing the weight of your own unanswered prayers. And in the deepest place inside you, there were moments where you wondered if perhaps you misheard God, or misread the signs, or expected too much. But something sacred refused to let you release hope. You didn't know it then, but heaven was strengthening your roots in hidden soil. Your faith was deepening. Your character was stretching. Your discernment was sharpening. You were being shaped to hold something greater than what you asked for, something that requires depth, endurance, and spiritual maturity. The waiting was not punishment. It was construction. Your delay was not a denial. It was divine protection. There were things you prayed for in seasons where receiving them would have harmed you, overwhelmed you, or distracted you from your purpose. There were connections you wanted that would have drained your spirit. Opportunities that would have looked like blessings, but were traps wearing gold. God was not silent because he ignored you. He was silent because he was working behind the curtain, closing doors you didn't know to avoid, removing people you thought you needed, and refining pieces of your identity that were not yet ready to carry the promise. Just as a tree grows roots in darkness before it breaks the soil, your becoming happened when no one could see. Like a bow being pulled backward to gather force, you felt tension that was never meant to break you, only to launch you. The delay was protection. The silence was instruction. The waiting was alignment. There is a shift happening now. Heaven has moved. The season has changed. What was once locked is beginning to unlock. What felt stagnant is starting to breathe again. You may not see the full breakthrough yet, but something in your spirit already knows. Something is different. There is a quiet settling, a peace you cannot explain, a clarity that was not there before. The atmosphere around your life has turned. You are no longer waiting for God to decide. The appointed time spoken in Habakkuk 2:3 has reached its fullness. The moment of Isaiah 60:22 is being activated. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. The release has begun. The decree has been spoken. Heaven has signed your name. The gate is opening. You are not waiting for breakthrough anymore. You are walking into it. The shift is subtle at first, like the first light before dawn, but it is steady and unstoppable. The locked gate you have stood before for years is beginning to click open. What was withheld is now being delivered. What was delayed is now being released. The breakthrough is unfolding not just around you, but within you. Your faith is no longer fragile. Your voice is no longer shaking. Your heart is no longer desperate. It is ready. And readiness is the signal heaven has been waiting for. You are stepping into the very thing you were shaped, refined, stretched, and strengthened for. There were lessons the waiting could teach you that the blessing never could. In the quiet spaces where nothing seemed to move, you learned how to sit with yourself. You learned how to listen for the voice of God without needing external proof. You learned how to trust what you could not explain. Patience was shaping you from the inside out. James 1:4 says, "Let patience finish its work so that you may be complete, lacking nothing." And that is exactly what was happening. You were being completed. There were wounds that needed to close, patterns that needed to break, beliefs that needed to be rewritten. You learned how to love yourself in ways you once believed were impossible. You learned how to set boundaries, how to recognize what your spirit could no longer tolerate, how to release what did not nourish your growth. The delay was not just about timing, it was about identity. You were becoming someone who no longer chases what is already destined. You were being shaped into the version of you who knows how to receive. Because blessings are not only given, they must be held, nurtured, stewarded, sustained. And now, after everything, you are ready to hold what once would have slipped right through your hands. The protection was real. There were rooms that would have swallowed you whole. There were people who would have smiled at you while silently sabotaging your spirit. There were opportunities that glittered like gold, but were poisoned at the root. There were environments where your light would have been dimmed just to make others comfortable. But God did not allow you to shrink to belong. Every no was strategic. Every closed door was mercy. Every separation was grace. You may have cried over what left, but heaven was celebrating your escape. Romans 8:28 was not just a comforting scripture for you. It was the blueprint shaping your path. All things were working together, even the betrayals, even the disappointments, even the times you felt abandoned, even the heartbreaks that seemed unbearable. These were not obstacles, they were redirections. Places where God placed his hand on your life and said, "Not this, not here, not like this, not yet." And though you did not always understand the restraint, now you can feel how protected you truly were. You outgrew things quietly. A version of you was shedding layer by layer, like a snake releasing what no longer fits. And no one saw the transformation because it happened in the unseen places, in your thinking, your believing, your inner posture. There were days when your mind felt like a battlefield, where doubts screamed louder than truth. But slowly, steadily, something sacred anchored itself deeper within you. Your discernment sharpened, your intuition awakened, your sensitivity to God's voice matured. You are no longer guided by urgency or fear. You have learned to wait for alignment. You no longer force what is not flowing. You no longer beg for what does not reciprocate. This is spiritual growth. You are stepping into a season where you choose differently, not from loneliness, but from clarity. You are not who you were when the promise first came. You are wiser now, stronger now, softer, but in a way that is resilient, not fragile. You have grown in the unseen, and now the external world will finally reflect the internal transformation. And now heaven has shifted. There is a divine release in motion. The timing has aligned. The appointed moment is here. The season has turned in your favor. Where there was resistance, there will be clearance. Where there was delay, there will be acceleration. Where there was silence, there will be confirmation. You may begin to witness small signs, conversations that open unexpected doors, ideas that spark with unusual clarity, connections that feel divinely timed, opportunities that return in better form. Nothing will be forced. It will flow. You will not have to chase what is yours. It will locate you. The bow has been fully drawn. Now comes the release. The breakthrough is not coming. It has begun. You are stepping out of waiting and into fulfillment. The sunrise has reached the horizon. The closed gate is unlocking. The season that felt suspended has now reactivated. You will feel this shift first in your spirit. A peace where there used to be pressure, a certainty where there used to be confusion. You will feel more grounded, more sure, more steady. Your heart is no longer begging, it is receiving. Something in you has settled into trust. And trust is the posture that opens every door heaven has planned. You are entering the chapter that was written with your tears, sealed with your endurance, and prepared through your perseverance. The delay is over. The release is now. The spiritual atmosphere around your life has been rewoven. The threads that once tangled you in confusion, hesitation, and uncertainty have been gently removed, strand by strand. You may have noticed your thoughts becoming clearer lately, your emotions less heavy, your spirit less anxious. That is not coincidence, that is release. You have crossed an invisible threshold. What once felt like pushing against a wall has now shifted into doors opening with quiet ease. This is the moment when the spiritual becomes physical, when what God has been forming in hidden spaces begins to take shape in your daily life. But because your growth was internal first, the unfolding will feel natural. You won't have to announce the change. The change will announce itself through your peace, your posture, your presence. People who once overlooked you will see you with new eyes. Opportunities that once passed you by will return, and you will not have to convince anyone of your worth. Your preparation speaks louder than any explanation could. You have stepped into the appointed time. You may notice yourself releasing fears that used to cling tightly to you. The worry that once circled your mind has begun to loosen its grip. The what-ifs have quieted. The urgency to prove, to hurry, to force, it is dissolving. A settled spirit is one of the first signs of breakthrough. The heart knows when something has shifted in heaven, even before the evidence appears on earth. There is a deep knowing waking up inside you, a remembrance of the promise that never died, only rooted deeper. This stillness is not passivity. It is alignment. It is the awareness that what is yours is already written into the story of your life, and you no longer have to attempt to rewrite what God has authored. You are no longer wrestling for clarity. The path is unveiling, one step at a time, steady, sure, guided. Like dawn slowly dissolving the last shade of night, the breakthrough is revealing itself in a way that does not startle, but soothes. Your spirit recognizes this season because it was always meant for you. Your heart is beginning to understand that delay was never rejection. Delay was preparation. Delay was mercy. Delay was protection. You can now look back at moments that once devastated you and see how they pushed you closer to purpose. The doors that did not open kept you from stepping into rooms that would have drained your light. The relationships that ended freed you from patterns that would have stunted your growth. The losses that broke you gave you depth, compassion, and a capacity to feel God in ways others cannot. You have lived what many only read about, the sacred work of inner transformation. And because of this, the breakthrough that arrives now will not be shallow. It will not be fleeting. It will not be something you are afraid to lose. It will fit you because it was shaped through your becoming. You have not been waiting for blessing. The blessing has been waiting for you to become the version of yourself able to receive it. And now you are here, ready, whole, established. The release of your breakthrough is not only external, it is internal first. The signs will show themselves in subtle but powerful ways. You will notice that what once triggered you no longer carries the same power. What once overwhelmed you no longer has access to your peace. You will feel a new steadiness in your soul, a knowing that does not need proof. You will find yourself drawn toward what nourishes your spirit and disinterested in what drains it. You will feel a pull toward alignment, not from pressure but from clarity. You will begin to speak differently, choose differently, expect differently. This is the identity of someone who has crossed into a new season. The breakthrough is already unfolding because you have already broken through. The internal chains have fallen. The internal doors have opened. Your spirit has already stepped forward. The physical world is simply catching up. Now that the release has begun, momentum will build. What once took months will now take weeks. What once took weeks will now take days. What once felt impossible will begin to feel natural. You may begin to feel guided in ways that feel effortless, as though the path beneath your feet is rising to meet you. This is divine alignment. This is what it looks like when heaven moves first. You will not have to fight for what is coming. You will not have to plead for what is already appointed. You will simply walk. And as you walk, doors will open. Connections will form. Provision will appear. Peace will lead. The release is active now. The breakthrough is unfolding now. The long night has ended. The dawn has arrived. There is a new strength rising in you, one that does not roar loudly, but stands quietly and unshakably firm. It is the kind of strength that is not born from striving, but from surviving, from enduring, from learning how to trust God in the absence of visible progress. You are no longer reacting to life the way you once did. You are no longer moved by fear, urgency, criticism, or comparison. You have seen enough, lost enough, waited long enough to understand what truly matters and what does not. The world around you may not realize it yet, but your spirit has matured. The waiting season planted a depth inside you that cannot be imitated or taught. It can only be lived. You carry wisdom now, not the kind that comes from information, but the kind that is earned through tears and revelation. You have learned how to discern the difference between what looks good and what is good. You have learned how to recognize the peace of God as the highest confirmation. You have learned how to prioritize your soul over your ego. The strength you have now is quiet but undeniable. It does not need to prove itself. It simply exists, unbothered, rooted, whole. This new strength is paired with a new clarity. You are seeing yourself differently. Not through the lens of past mistakes, failures, delays, or disappointments, but through the lens of who you have become. You are realizing now that the version of you who was waiting did not see the full scope of your value. You tried to earn places that were never worthy of you. You tried to be chosen by people who did not have the capacity to carry your heart. You tried to shrink to fit roles that were always beneath your calling. But now, your spirit refuses to diminish itself just to belong. You have outgrown the need for validation. You have outgrown the desire to be understood by everyone. You have outgrown the belief that acceptance must come from outside of you. Something inside you has shifted. You are beginning to recognize that your worth has always been intrinsic. Sealed by God, not confirmed by audience, environment, or proximity. And because of that, you will no longer settle. Not in relationships, not in purpose, not in your own identity. Your spirit has graduated. You are not the same. There is a holiness to how you move now. Slow, intentional, discerning. You are no longer moved by urgency or impatience. You have learned to honor process. You have learned that what is real will not require you to sacrifice your peace to keep it. Your decisions are different now. Your boundaries are sacred. Your silence has become a weapon of protection. You now understand that not every battle deserves your energy, and not every invitation deserves your presence. You have become selective, not in a prideful way, but in a spiritually aligned way. You now choose environments that nourish your growth, conversations that feed your spirit, and connections that honor your calling. This is part of your breakthrough. The internal shift is the foundation for the external manifestation. You are ready, not because life has become easier, but because you have become wiser. You can now be trusted with the blessing you once prayed for. And now the external signs will begin to appear. It will begin softly, like footsteps approaching from a distance. Unexpected messages, reopened doors, sudden clarity regarding decisions that once felt cloudy, opportunities that feel tailor-made, provision arriving at the exact moment you need it. Not early, not late. Divine timing will be evident. Conversations will unfold that lead to alignment. People will show up who carry keys to the next phase of your purpose. Ideas that once felt scattered will come together with seamless direction. You will begin to feel led, not by desire alone, but by destiny. And you will know it is God, because the peace will be unmistakable. This is not coincidence. This is the appointed time being fulfilled. Heaven is moving on your behalf. Do not rush this unfolding. Honor it. There is a rhythm to breakthrough. Just as the sunrise does not explode across the sky all at once, your breakthrough will expand, gradually, gently, beautifully. It will unfold in layers. Revelation, alignment, opportunity, visibility, fulfillment. And in each layer, you will recognize the fingerprints of God. You will begin to understand why the delay was necessary, why the waiting was sacred, why the silence was strategic. You will see the purpose in every tear, every disappointment, every pause. And in that understanding, your heart will exhale. You will realize that the timing was perfect, not because it was easy, but because it was divine. You are stepping into the season where everything aligns. The release is active. The breakthrough is moving. The unfolding has begun. There is a deep internal recognition now, a knowing that you have crossed a threshold that will not be reversed. You have stepped out of who you once were and into who you were always meant to become. It is as though your spirit has finally caught up to your calling. This is why you feel different, not louder, not more confident in the worldly sense, but more sure, more steady. There is a quiet authority resting on you now, the kind that does not demand to be noticed, yet cannot be ignored. The waiting season carved something eternal into your being. Endurance, humility, clarity, discernment. These qualities are not easily gained, and once they are present, they do not fade. This is the maturity of someone who has endured the wilderness and emerged with wisdom rather than bitterness. And that is not a small thing. Many come out of hard seasons hardened, but you came out refined, softer in the right places, stronger in the right ways. You learned how to bend without breaking, how to surrender without losing yourself, how to hope without desperation. The person you are now is not just ready to receive the breakthrough, you are ready to carry it, to sustain it, to honor it, to protect it. And because of that, the breakthrough can come without fear of loss or misuse. You have learned to honor what is sacred. You have learned to move with intention. You are the vessel prepared for the blessing. The growth you experienced in the unseen places has now rooted itself so deeply that nothing external can uproot it. This is why you feel a different kind of peace, a peace not tied to circumstances, outcomes, or timing, a peace that does not shift with emotion or weather or mood, a peace that simply is. It is the peace that comes when your identity is no longer up for negotiation. When you know who you are, you no longer chase places or people that cannot see you. You no longer seek validation because you have become rooted in truth. Your heart has been steadied. Your mind has been renewed. Your spirit has been strengthened. You now understand that the delays were not stealing time from you. They were shaping the time ahead. What took longer will last longer. What required patience will carry purpose. What was protected will remain preserved. You are no longer easily swayed, easily discouraged, or easily influenced. You have learned to hear God in the quiet. You have learned to move only when led. You have learned to rest even when the future is unfolding slowly. This level of maturity is uncommon, and because of that, your breakthrough will not be fragile or fleeting. It will be sustained. Because you are sustained. Now begins the imagery of unfolding, signs to help your spirit recognize what is already happening. Imagine a seed lying beneath the soil. For weeks, months, sometimes years, nothing appears above the surface. To the eye, it seems dormant, forgotten, lifeless. But beneath the ground, a root system is forming, stretching, expanding, strengthening, anchoring. And then one day, without warning, the surface breaks. A small, fragile sprout emerges. It looks fragile, but it is backed by strength the earth itself cannot shake. That is you. What others will soon witness is only the surface of what has been forming beneath memory, beneath prayer, beneath silence. You are about to break the surface. You are about to be seen. You are about to step into visibility. Not loud, not frantic, but inevitable. What was hidden is now emerging by divine timing. And no one, no circumstance, no jealousy, no resistance can uproot what God has established. Another image, the bow and arrow. For so long, it felt like your life was being pulled backward, emotionally, financially, relationally, spiritually. You lost things. You were stretched. You felt like you were going in the opposite direction of your promise. But what you did not realize is that you were being positioned for launch. The tension was not punishment. It was preparation for momentum. The farther the bow is pulled back, the farther the arrow will fly once released. And now the release is happening, not all at once but steadily. Momentum is increasing. Acceleration is unfolding. What once felt like setback will now become the reason you rise farther, higher, faster than you imagined. The backward stretch is over. The forward motion has begun. And finally, the gate. For years, you have stood before a gate that would not move. No matter how much you prayed, cried, tried, or waited, it remained locked, still, unyielding. But the delay was never denial, it was timing. The gate was not closed to punish you, it was closed to prepare you. And now, after all this time, you will begin to hear the sound, the soft click of release. At first it will be subtle, a conversation, a message, a shift in atmosphere. And then the gate will open, not by force, but by divine decree. The gate is opening now. The way is being made clear. The path is being revealed. You are stepping through what once stood still. The delay has given way to movement. As the breakthrough unfolds, your only task now is to remain aligned. Alignment is not effort. It is agreement. Agreement with who you have become, with what you know is true, with the peace that has settled in your spirit. Do not return to the habits, people, or environments that belong to the version of you that was waiting. You are no longer that person. Your spirit has graduated into clarity. You now know the difference between what nourishes and what drains, between what aligns and what distracts. You must honor that knowing. Protect your peace like a sacred flame. Move slowly. Move intentionally. Let God lead each step, not fear, not impatience, not old wounds looking for familiar patterns. Your steps will be guided now, not through striving, but through stillness. There will be a pull, gentle, steady, toward what is meant for you. Trust that pull. Trust the timing. Trust the ease. Breakthrough is not frantic. It does not demand desperation. It flows. If something requires you to sacrifice your peace, it is not part of your release. If something feels forced, it was not sent for this season. Let peace be your compass. Let discernment be your shield. Let stillness be your strength. You will not miss what is yours. What is yours is already moving toward you. Do not allow fear to convince you that this season is too good to be true. It is not temporary. It is not a moment of luck or chance. It is the fulfillment of what has been maturing in spirit and time. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are stepping into something ordained. The same God who sustained you in the waiting will sustain you in the receiving. Your heart does not need to brace for loss. Your mind does not need to prepare for disappointment. That is the language of the past, the language of survival, not alignment. You are not surviving anymore. You are stepping into living, into joy without caution, into peace without doubt, into blessings without guilt, into expansion without fear. This season is not asking you to fight. It is asking you to trust, to breathe, to allow, to receive. The breakthrough is not just for your circumstances. It is for your spirit, to teach you that you are safe in God even when you do not have control, that you are held even when you cannot predict what is next, that you are guided even when the path reveals itself one small step at a time. This is what it means to walk with ease, not absence of effort but absence of internal war. Hold your peace. Guard your atmosphere. Stay close to God in still moments. You do not need to announce what is shifting. You do not need to explain to anyone what is unfolding. Revelation is private before it is public. Do not concern yourself with who understands this season or who cannot recognize your growth. Not everyone is meant to accompany you into this next chapter. This breakthrough is personal, sacred, a covenant between your spirit and God. There will be time for testimony. There will be time for sharing. But right now, remain in the quiet glow of what is forming. Let the roots continue to strengthen as the sprout pushes through the soil. Let the arrow fly without needing applause. Let the sunrise rise without needing acknowledgement. Some miracles are meant to be witnessed in stillness. This is one of them. Stay rooted. Stay peaceful. Stay in alignment. You have entered the season of fulfillment. Nothing can disrupt what God has released. So hear this clearly, chosen one. The delay has ended. What was once withheld has now been released. The appointed time has arrived. The vision that tarried in Habakkuk 2:3 has now reached its moment. The promise of Isaiah 60:22 is active in your life. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen, and the time is right. Heaven has signed the release order. The gate is open. The path is clear. The breakthrough is unfolding. You will see change. You will feel movement. You will witness evidence. Not someday, now. Not eventually, now. Not in theory, in reality. The delay was never a denial. It was a divine preparation for a blessing that could not be rushed. And now the blessing is here. May your spirit receive this without resistance. May your heart open to what is already moving. May your steps be guided with clarity, peace, and divine timing. May every residue of fear, doubt, scarcity, and old identity fall away. May your spirit stand tall in the truth that the breakthrough is not only promised, but present. May your days ahead reflect the depth of who you have become. May your life now align with the purpose heaven has always written over you. It is done. It is released. It is yours. If you receive this word, comment, I accept the breakthrough that was always mine.